A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Surah Al-KAHF, ayah number 103 to 106. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul hal nunabbi'ukum bil akhsarina a'mala. Say, shall we tell you who are the greatest losers in whatever they may do? So Allah Ta'ala is saying that, do you want to know who are the people who are at most loss in everything that they do in their life? So, in life we gain some and we lose some. So life is a balance of gaining and losing. You win some, you lose some. But Allah says there are some people who, no matter what they do in life, they are at complete loss. So who are these people? الَّذِينَ ظَلَّ سَعْيُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ يَحْسِنُونَ صُنْعًا. So these people, it is they whose labor has gone astray in the pursuit of no more than this world's life, and who nonetheless think that they are doing good works. So there are people who do good deeds and there are people who do bad deeds. But the worse is the case with people who do good deeds, but they are doing them for worldly sake. And all of their effort is for this world. Whatever they do, it is for this world. And none of that effort has got a real concept of good or bad behind it. So they are doing it at whim. They're doing it when they feel like it. When they feel good, they do something good. When they don't feel good, they would not do it. And they think that they're doing the right thing, especially putting all the effort into this world's life. And most of their efforts are to gain worldly gains. So they're looking for the profit in this world, and they think that they can be successful in this way. So وَهُمْ يَحْسِبُونَ means that they believe, they think, أَنَّهُمْ يَحْسِنُونَ صَنْعًا, that they are doing the good works, they're doing the best works. Now, firstly, let's look at the life of this world and what Allah says. Allah Ta'ala describes the life of this world as just a play. So it's all a game and a play going on. And the real life is the life hereafter. The Prophet ﷺ, he explained it once in the hadith. He said that this life compared to the life hereafter is like dipping your finger in water in a sea. So the life hereafter, if it's like the sea, imagine the ocean. Imagine all the beauty of the ocean and the vastness of the ocean, and all the 7 oceans are connected to each other, and they've got these incredible creatures in them. There's sharks and whales, and there are coral reefs, and there are deep sea trenches, and there are islands arising from the ocean. Compare all of that. That is like akhirah. And dipping your finger in the water is a sensation of water. You're not even holding it in your hands. You're just dipping your finger in the water. You get a sensation of water. That sensation of wetness is what this world is compared to the life hereafter. So imagine if all the focus is on this life and we are ignoring the real life, which is the life hereafter, and the real world, the universe that Allah has created for us, how much of big loss are we at? Another thing is that Allah Ta'ala in Quran, whatever He talks about is very logical and simple to understand. So when Allah says that the life of this world is lahwa wa lahab, it is just a play, it is just a game, it's a beautiful parable. Because if you see children, when they sit around to play, and they have some games, like they have a monopoly game in which you buy property and you become rich, or you have a Ludo game in which you are moving your dice and moving from one place to another and winning. Or if you have chess, in which you are moving the chess pieces. Now, all these games, they are very attractive. And you can see when children are playing it, even when grown-ups are playing it sometimes, they get totally absorbed into them. And they won't care about food, they won't care about brushing their teeth, they won't care about doing the homework. All the focus is on the game. And they think, this is it. This is giving me pleasure. The immediate, intense pleasure that they're getting, it overwhelms them. They're addicted to it. So what happens? They are focusing on it completely, not paying attention to anything else. And at the end of the day, they have to wrap up that game and have to move on. And after them, on another day, someone else would be playing the same game, another group of people, and they would be taking it as seriously as those children were. The next set of children would be taking it as seriously as the children before them were. And then when the game is over, time is over, they wrap it up and they move on. The worldly life is exactly the same. Me and you are just players in this game which has been going on for tens of thousands or millions of years. And they were bigger players than us before. They were bigger kings. They were bigger intellectuals who have been in the past compared to the kings and the intellectuals of today. There have been prophets who came and who went. There have been powerful people who came and who went. There have been powerful creatures, more powerful than the human beings, dinosaurs who came and went. Many of them did not even leave a record in the fossil track, so we don't even know whether they existed or not. And the paleontologists say that out of every 9 billion creatures who live on the planet from one certain species, over time only one gets fossilized. So that's the ratio of fossilization. So out of 9 billion dinosaurs of a particular time, for example, if they existed, only one would be fossilized. And that would be anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world that fossil would exist. The rest, they would just rot away, decay, and won't even leave behind a fossil. That's the average on which a fossil is formed. So imagine from Adam till today, the estimate is that the human population which has ever existed is around 9 billion or less than that. Because in most of the times in history, we did not account more than a few million. So let's say we are 9 billion till now, from Adam to us. If today an asteroid strikes the world and we all are destroyed, and new creatures would come after us, the fossil record would only have one skeleton from all of our species somewhere in the world. Could be anywhere in the world. Could be under the ocean. Could be under a lake. Could be buried 1,000 meters under the ground in some desert. If some intelligent beings were to come and look around for fossil record, they would probably never even find us. We would not even register on the record of this planet that we ever existed. And look at all that we have achieved. We have achieved more than any other creature. But we won't even be registered in the fossil record by the sheer lack of numbers we've had. So all of this world is like a game. We come, we play, we leave. We don't take any of it with us. Like that game of Monopoly, you think you have got Oxford Circus and you've got Central Manhattan and you've got all those buildings on it, but that's nothing. It means nothing. You move on, someone else comes and sits there and someone else is playing with the same pieces and with the same playmat. And this goes on and on. The reality of life is not what we see. And Allah Ta'ala says, I've given you intellect and I've given you understanding. And I have not made you just for this purpose. So anyone who focuses on this is the biggest loser. Because when you die, everything ends. Whether you die a multi-billionaire or whether you die a penniless person, it makes absolutely no difference. At death, the amount of money and savings and investments you have mean nothing. And during life, what means is a shelter over your head, food to eat, and a place to sleep. A person who's a multi-billionaire may not get good enough sleep in the day compared to someone who is a poor man and is just making ends meet, but might have a better sleep. Happiness is the same. You can be the richest and most powerful person in the world, and you may not be happy at all, compared to someone who's not as powerful and as rich as you, but is having a much more happier existence. And imagine this temporary setup of the world, this stage on which we come and play our role and leave. We take it so seriously. And these temporary matters, this temporary land, these temporary houses, which before us belonged to someone else and after us would belong to someone other than us, we get so attached to them that we are willing to break our personal relationships. We are willing to kill. We are willing to fight. We are willing to argue over these with each other. And Allah says, these are the people who are making the biggest loss in life. Next ayah, Allah Ta'ala says, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ وَلِقَائِهِ فَحَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ فَلَا نُقِيمُ لَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَزْنًا. It is they who have chosen to deny their sustainers' messages and the truth that they are destined to meet him. Hence all their good deeds come to naught, and no weight shall we assign to them on resurrection day. This is a very harsh message, a very, very strong message. Allah Ta'ala is saying that these people, because they have denied my message and they have forgotten and denied the fact that they are going to meet me, I am not going to give any weight to their good deeds. Now this is very strange. One would ask, if you do good deeds in this world, why would no weight be assigned to it? But Allah Ta'ala is not saying that you would not get a recompense for your good deeds. This is not what Allah Ta'ala is saying. He is saying that you are not going to get any recompense for them on the resurrection day, on the day of judgment. If you do good deeds for this world, you will get the results in this world. And you will get the benefit of them in this world. But if you do good deeds for the sake of Allah, then you will get the benefit in this world and the world hereafter. This ayah is very important in the sense that a lot of argument takes place around it, especially by the non-Muslims. People have asked me many a times, why do you have to be a Muslim to do good deeds and have a better end in the day of judgment, in the hereafter? Why can't you do good deeds without being Muslim, without accepting Islam, and then get a compensation and get a reward for it on the day of judgment? And this is a very valid question. But I'll give you an example here which would clarify what the situation is. Now imagine you have got two doctors. One of them is employed by the hospital and the other one has decided not to take up the job in the hospital. Now, if a person goes to the first doctor who has been employed by the hospital and that person says to him, I've got a headache, so the doctor is going to treat him, investigate him, and give him some painkillers, maybe a Panadol, Adol, whatever you call, paracetamol, acetaminophen. Tablets given, simple tablets, headache goes away, the person says, thank you. Same happens to the other doctor who's not employed by the hospital, who has not signed a contract. So a person goes to him, has a headache, he examines him, does all the right things for him, and prescribes him the same medication, Panadol, Adol, paracetamol, acetaminophen, whatever brand name, and the patient takes the medication and the headache goes away. Both have done the same deed. Both have done the same deed, the good deed, right thing, did the right treatment, headache went away. Now, end of the month, the one who's employed by the hospital would go and claim money for it because he signed a contract with them that I'll treat patients in your hospital under your setting. The other doctor who's not employed by that hospital, or maybe on a career break and is not working, he cannot go and claim salary for it. Why? Because he's not employed by them. He didn't sign the contract. But what's the difference here? What is the difference between the one who signs the contract and who does not sign the contract? There is a big difference. When you sign a contract with a hospital for the job, you have to do that job whether you like it or not. You cannot refuse the patient. You have made a commitment. Whether you're feeling in a good mood or a bad mood, whether you're tired or you are fresh, whether it's the start of the shift or the end of the shift, whether you've had your lunch and your cup of coffee or not, you are supposed to help the people and look after the patient and treat them. And that's why that obligation and that promise you make to the hospital that I'm committing my time to your services is what they pay you for. Not just what you do, not just the results of your actions and deeds, but that commitment. The other doctor who has not signed a contract with the hospital, is not working with them, he can refuse. He will only treat patients if he feels like it. If somebody comes up to him and says, I've got a headache, could you help me? If he feels like it, he'll say, yeah, I will. If he doesn't feel like it, he'll say, sorry, I'm busy right now. I have got to go spend time with my family. Sorry, I'm not employed to look after you. He has a choice. He has a choice to do good or not to do good. And he has the rightful choice because he's not under contract to treat people. But the person who's employed is under contract. This is the difference between being a Muslim and a non-Muslim. A Muslim is under contract. You are going to do the right thing whether you like it or not, whether you are up to it or not, whether you feel like it or you're not. You do it. And it's most of the time when you don't feel like doing the right thing, but you do the right thing, that you get more compensated for. You know, like putting extra hours when you're tired and you finish your work, but there's a lot of backlog of patients and the hospital tells you stay behind and see more patients, we'll pay you more, and you do that. You get extra pay for it. If you've got your annual leave and you've cancelled it and you say, no, I'm going to work on it because the hospital needs me, you get extra reward for it. Even if you do your normal hours, you get a normal reward for it. A non-Muslim or one who does not believe in Allah or who does kufr, he's doing good deeds for what? Because he feels like it. When he feels like it, he'll do it. When he doesn't feel like it, he's not under obligation to do it. So he would not be given the same treatment and he cannot expect the same results on the Day of Judgment as a person who's made a lifelong 100% commitment to do the right thing. And also there's another thing, the other side of the coin, the flip side of the coin. If a doctor employed by the hospital does something wrong, he's going to be punished more. He's going to go to court. And he's going to be answerable why he did the wrong thing. He'll have to clarify himself and justify himself. Whereas a person or a doctor who's not employed by the hospital and just by goodwill is treating someone and something goes wrong, he might take refuge under the Good Samaritan law, which is the law in which you're doing something good out of your heart, and if something goes wrong, the law is not going to be that harsh on you. The law is still going to take things into account and say, did you do the right thing or not? Were you vigilant enough? Why did you commit to a task that you were not up to it? But the Good Samaritan law, which comes from Bible, where there was a Good Samaritan Jew who helped a traveler who was injured. It's a long story, but just to give you a general idea, the Good Samaritan law says that if you're doing something out of the goodness of your heart and you commit a mistake, the law is not going to come down on you too harshly. But if you're doing it for a compensation and you've committed and you've signed up to do the job and you do something wrong, the law is going to treat you very strictly. So being Muslims, we do get more reward, but we are also more answerable. Next ayah is ذَلِكَ جَزَاؤُهُمْ جَهَنَّمُ بِمَا كَفَرُوا وَاتَّخَذُوا آيَاتِي وَرُسُلِي هُزُوًا. That will be their recompense, their hell, for having denied the truth and made my messages and my apostles a target of their mockery. And now Allah is giving the thought process. Why people do not believe even when they have received the message and they've understood it. They think they are too clever. They think it's not good enough for them. They make fun of the message. They make fun of the apostles, of the prophets. And then, end of the day, when they realize their mistake and they see that they've put all that effort in their life and even the good things they've done, all they got was a reward in this life. And because they never aimed for the hereafter, they never signed up to that contract to commit, to make a commitment that I am committing to be the right person and to do the right thing, to be a good human being, because they've not committed to it, they've lost on a huge amount of reward and benefit, which could have been theirs very easily. And remember, one of the worst sins that we can ever commit is arrogance and pride. When we look down on others, other human beings, when we make fun of others, whether it's a message from Allah, or whether it's a prophet of Allah, or whether if it is someone who's telling us what the right thing is and what you should not be doing in life and how to be a good person, when we make fun of them and mock them and think that they are losers because they don't have those worldly gains and possessions that I have got and I've made it in the world and I'm living a life of luxury, so this is a testament to me being the good person and the right person. That arrogance and that pride and that looking down on other human beings is one of the worst sins that anyone can ever commit. Remember, Shaitan did not drink alcohol. We don't have any record of it. He did not murder anyone. There's no record of that. He did not commit any of the other crimes which we consider to be very bad, like raping or molesting or anything of the sort. We don't know. There's nothing to mention that he ever did such a thing. His worst crime was arrogance and thinking he was superior to other beings of Allah. And that crime is the crime which is one of the worst crimes of all time. And that is the root of most evils. When we think we are superior, then we think that other people don't deserve what we deserve. And that's from where all the other evils stem out. If we have empathy for other creatures of Allah, and if we understand them or respect them and show them recognition, then most of the time we will do the right thing when dealing with the other creatures of Allah. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll continue with the other ayat. Till then, please remember everyone in your prayers, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.